In the opening quarter-final, China were in crisis as Team Austria booked their debut in a World Cup of Pool semi-final. 9-3, the comfortable scoreline. And there was another Asian setback next, as the Philippines let the title slip away against the fabulous Finns. Then, European powerhouses went head-to-head. Germany led 7-5, but Holland delivered when it mattered most to record a satisfying 9-7 victory. And that would be the score in the closing quarter-final, as the USA fought hard, but ultimately in vain, on the way to defeat by the host nation England.
And there you see confirmation of our semi-final lineup. Finland looking excellent throughout this tournament. They have won this event before. They'll take on England, looking for their first World Cup of Pool title. And then the dark horses, the young guns, Austria, will be taking on a team that a lot of people are picking, Holland, last year's runner-up. And that'll be our second.
To go 7-2 was obviously the start we wanted. It'd have been nice to win, 9-2, 9-3, etc., but it wasn't to be. And we never really had a clear-cut chance, to get another frame on the board. And before we knew it, it was 7-7. It's obviously nice to get a win like that when you're under real pressure.
It's nice to know that we can be front runners, but we can also come from behind. So it was important to be have a little. Maybe a couple of battle scars and get ready for the next match.
We're feeling a lot better from the first matches. We played good in there also, but now in tough match we got ourselves together.
If you look at their record over the years, it's amazing, really. I mean, you wouldn't really at the start of the event really pick them out as one of the favourites. They just gel well together, and that's why they're very hard to beat. We know we have to break good today, and we have to take our chances to have a chance to beat them.
The pressure is going to be on them a little bit more than us. They're playing in front of their home crowd. Obviously, we want to win, but we like the pressure. We want there to be a little bit of pressure. Otherwise, what are we here for anyway? So, it's going to be exciting.
32 teams came, now only 4 remain. 5 continents were represented in the Betway World Cup of Pool at the start. Now only 1 continent remains, Europe. But which European team will prevail?
Finland win the lag.
Finland wins the lag, as you heard referee Nigel Rees declare. Mika Immonen there, and he will leave it to Petri Mäkinen, who's had much success with the break shot.
Race to 9, winner breaks.
On this very table. What a lineup here today, Phil. Finland winning this event in 2012. England, oh, how they would love to grab this championship on home soil. But they have a massive obstacle in their way in this race to 9. And look at this break, Phil. The 1, the 2, and the 3 down with a shot on the 4. That is a spectacular way to start this match.
Petri laying down the law straight away. As far as breaks go, you cannot get any better than that.
I think that is the best break shot I have seen in this tournament. Now, he doesn't plan for the only ball he plans to go down is the 1 ball, because that and the 9 ball are the only 2 balls that are in a set position. It should be noted that when Nigel Rees will rack the balls, all the other balls except the 1 and the 9 will be put in random order. So trying to replicate that will be very difficult.
I think the Finns wanted a little more angle on this 5 ball than they've got. Cheated the pocket a little, and it should be okay now.
You have to think coming into this match that the Finns, Phil, are brimming with confidence, whereas England has been slightly shaky in this event. They've managed to pull through. They've played great at times and just had some other times where it's been not so great. So England's going to really have to fight this out. I guess you couldn't find two better guys than Darren and Carl to grind out a victory.
Well, let's put some numbers on it. Finland's frames won lost record up to this point, 23 won, 7 lost. England's 23 won, 14 lost.
Fantastic opening rack, and it'll be Petri Mäkinen, the loyal lieutenant of the captain Mika Immonen.
First blood is drawn, and it's drawn comprehensively. And talking of comprehensive, this is how the Finns have made it through to the last 4 here. 9-7-0 the Philippines in the quarterfinals. That was a great victory, but look how they started out in unprecedented fashion with back-to-back 7-0 whitewashes of Korea and Poland. In contrast, it's been tough for the English. David Al-Kaidi blundered on the 4-ball in the deciding rack of their first round match. That's why England beat Spain 7-6. It was much more convincing against the Greeks, in fairness, 7-1. Last night at 7-7, it was anyone's match against the USA, but the USA broke dry. England did the rest.
Rack 2, Finland to break, leading 1 rack to 0.
Stern faces on the English.
Well,
They've yet
and
to
in
get a
that
shot.
match, and in that match, Phil, as you know, England had a 7-2 lead on the USA, and they gave away 5 straight racks. So it wasn't totally convincing. That is a legal break. The 1 ball is down, and an open shot on the 2. So both teams, rather, another good break now for Finland. This is an ominous start for Team England here. Finland already came into this match brimming with confidence. This is the perfect start. I don't know about you, Phil, but I haven't really seen Petri do anything wrong. Maybe 1 or 2 small blunders, but he has been so consistent. He's the rock of this Finland side.
And it's not just this year. He's done it before. Jim White was absolutely right on the button when he said it's amazing how time and again he comes to this tournament and raises his game, because individually, I think he would be the first to admit, he hasn't got a particularly stellar record, and yet when he plays here, he looks world class.
Well, you know the old saying, Phil, there's no I in team. This is a team event. So we can extol the virtues of Amika and Darren and Carl as individual players, but it really doesn't matter when you come to a team event. Players have to gel together. Remember, pool is mostly an individual sport. When you shoot, you're playing the position that you want. In this case, you're playing with your partner, and that can lead to some testy exchanges sometimes. We saw last night Earl Strickland getting a bit angry at Shane Van Boning over a missed ball, and that doesn't help in a team game.
Doesn't help, it positively hinders.
Well, what a start for Team Finland.
McKonan short of pace there, but the 9-ball should be deposited. No issues. Finland 2, England 0. England yet to have a shot on the table.
Indeed, 2 break and runouts for Finland. Finland has won this event in 2012 in the Philippines, where they defeated Poland in the finals. Immonen and Marcus Juva were runners-up in 2007. You can see that when Mäkinen and Immonen got together in 2011, they only made it to the first round, but then they won it the next year. And I'll tell you what, in 2013, they looked really good, and they barely lost in that semifinal.
You know, in 2007, when they were beaten in the final, Immonen and Juva were only edged out 11-10 by Fu Jiangbo and Lee Hee-wen. So
Rack 3, Finland to break.
They could be double champions quite easily.
They have a chance to win their second World Cup of Pool here. This is our race to 9 semifinal. It's winner break. Now in the first rack, Mäkinen here made 3 balls on the break. It's a legal break and a shot on the 2. Phil, we may have to wait some time more to see Team England at the table.
Well, one thing we can say without fear or favour, we haven't seen a start like this in the tournament yet. This is the stuff of dreams.
Wow. We didn't expect that from the great Mika Immonen. Let's watch that again. Missed it by a fair amount, and he's left the shot on. So our first look at Team England. Darren Appleton, originally from Pontefract. A lot of these English players have an English 8-ball background. Some include snooker in their background, but mostly these two guys came from an English 8-ball background.
Of course, England had 2 teams in this event as the host nation, and all 4 players involved for England were actually born in the county of Yorkshire.
So, Phil, what's going on up in Yorkshire? Why are producing so many great billiard players?
In the past, of course, it was the great hotbed of cricket, still is, I suppose. Big American. Ted, have you ever heard of a guy called Freddie Truman?
No. And he is?
Well, he was a fearsome cricket fast bowler.
An American cricket player.
No, Yorkshire. That's where I'm mentioning him.
So off that miss 2. England certainly not in a panic. Carl Boys.
Of course, it's still very early days in what is a race to 9, but you get the feeling this rack could be crucial in the final analysis. England needed table time. They got it because of Immonen's missed 2. Finland still lead, but now only 2-1.
Well, the 1 ball went in the bottom corner instead of the side. The green 6 went in the side, so that is a very legal break. You may be wondering what I'm referring to, say a legal break. See that white line there? It's called the head string. On the break, you must get 3 balls past that head string, or a pocketed ball counts as a ball past the head string. Must all add up to 3. Otherwise, it'll be declared illegal, and your opponents will have the option to shoot or give back the table. So the teams have 1 minute after the break shot to come up with a game plan, and after that we have a 30-second shot clock.
You know, he was looking there at the 9 being in movement. There was a possibility of playing the 2 into the 3 into the 9 to pocket it and bring about a very quick conclusion to the rack. As it is, the 3 has not gone over the table far enough, and its path to the pocket is blocked by the 8.
Extension
Well,
call.
you saw the angle mapped out by Darren Appleton. That'll leave natural position for the pink 4. They have to get lucky, and they don't. So advantage Finland.
Yes, and there's substantial advantage as well, because these balls are now clearly in the open. It was an aggressive shot from Appleton, but when you live by the sword, you die by it. If you're not accurate, especially with the quality of Immonen and McConan to come back onto the table, you're going to be in trouble.
Well, that was unfortunate, but sort of got away with it.
Yes, but the close proximity of the cue ball to the pink 4 means that positional options for the 5 are severely limited.
Extension call.
Yeah, this is the only time you'll see the Finns talking. They have a bit of a puzzle to solve. Otherwise, they sort of just keep to themselves and do their business.
That's all they could do. No point in trying to be outlandish when it's simply impossible.
You could perhaps go for a carom off the 5 into the 7. And he potted the 5. What a shot. A clever two-way shot there. And Mäkinen comes through yet again. It's a bit of a confidence booster, this one.
England missed the bank. Finland deposited the rack. They lead 3-1.
And here was the shot. Carl Boyes got down. Or rather, this is Immonen on the carom. What was a bank first, then a carom. What a fantastic shot that was. And that was all courtesy of a misbank by Carl Boyes earlier in the rack. So 3-1 now. It's a race to 9. Winner breaks, and they know You've got to take advantage because look how Finland has been breaking so far in this match.
Iraq 5, Finland to break, leading 3 racks to 1.
Well, still a lot of time left, but they have to be slightly worried about this break shot here. Interesting. This is a bit of a new tactic here that they are going for the one in the corner. This is more of a punch break, and it's working. So now they're getting a legal break. Yesterday we saw Mika with several illegal breaks, and he was really disappointed afterwards. I mean, happy for the win, but just not happy with the way they were breaking. Now, the 2 is covered by the 6 ball.
Push out called.
So they'll call a push out.
Reset, please.
Well, England didn't even bother to even consider that shot. They're going to put Finland back in, and indeed, why would England take that shot? There was really nothing there. There's no easy, safe jump, and now he's going to jump it.
Extension called.
There were a couple of occasions yesterday in the Holland-Germany quarter-final when Holland pushed out, the Germans gave them the table back, and the Dutch produced something spectacular. That's what's required here.
The thing with this shot is, where does it all end up? He very nearly pocketed the 9 ball. But that is a pretty good result there. Yeah, that would have been the rack if that 9 had gone. You got to hit the object ball first, and after that, anything is fair game. Oh, God, he got that. What a shot. There's a highlight reel for you.
Well, Appleton's attempt on the bank in the previous rack was off target. That one was bang on the button.
What an offensive play, and he got position on the 3. Well, I just have to, next ball's the 6. He'll be happy with that, with an angle to bring it back for the brown 7. If you ever wanted somebody to grind it out from behind, to come back and hang in there, it is Darren Appleton. I don't think anybody could ever outwork Darren Appleton. You might beat him on occasion, but you're not going to outwork him. Now boys on the 7.
Now, this is one of those shots that obviously should be potted, but there's just a grain of pressure on this. Well done. England refusing to allow the Finns to pull away. The score now, 3-2. So this is the performance of England over the years in this World Cup of Pool. This is the 9th edition of this tournament, by the way. quarter-finalist on 3 occasions in 09, 2012, 2013. Their best result was in 2008 in Rotterdam. They lost in the final to the USA. The team was Darryl Peach and Mark Gray. And look at their representatives in 2006 in Newport, Wales. Raj Hundal, who now plays for India, and the O'Sullivan, yes, you've guessed it, the Rocket, Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Darren Appleton, recently married. I was at that wedding in Allentown, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
6, England to break.
The USA.
2 racks to 3.
That had to be the event of the year. What a spectacular wedding.
The town of Bethlehem is sung about by Willie Nelson.
He actually lives in Allentown, Pennsylvania, which is my hometown. And that was sung by Billy Joel.
What was the line from Willie Nelson? Boys, I've been to Bethlehem, rode there on a big steam train.
Now, I rode there on a trolley car that they rented by the Appletons, and they took us from Allentown to the church in Bethlehem. It was quite the day. That was back in August. Darren's parents were there. It was the first time they had ever been outside of England, first time they'd ever been on an airplane.
Open rack here, looking good. Position from 5 to 6 could be the key ball.
Well, this is going to be tied up in about a minute. The story is yet to be told here. This is going to be a high quality affair, you can tell. And we wouldn't expect anything less. Semifinals of the World Cup of Pool.
I think it was generally assumed this one would be tight, and you can't get any tighter than the scoreline now. Finland 3, England 3. It's a beautiful day here on the south coast of England, unseasonably warm, and yet for the losers of this match it will be a case of dark clouds descending.
Already 3 balls down. Will they get a shot on the 2? No. Boy, that's unfortunate. What a break shot there. Well, Phil, this is compared to yesterday. Both teams have really improved on their break shot.
Well, the general standard as well, Ted, is excellent, as you would expect this deep into a tournament.
We saw a lot of illegal breaks yesterday, but today, both teams having success on that opening shot.
Well, I suppose England should be thankful for small mercies. They can
Extension
actually
call.
see the 2-ball. But this is one of those situations where an extension to the time is warranted. It's a 30-second shot clock, and each team is given one 30-second extension per rack. It affords additional thinking time.
Well, yeah, there's already 3 balls down, so you make a mistake here and you could lose the rack.
Push out call.
England have decided to push out.
This man, actually, you know, speaking of Darren's wedding, this man Miko was one of the honored guests there. He was there, so these guys are good friends off the table, fierce competitors on the table.
Extension called.
Well, when the Finns pushed out a little earlier in the match, they pushed out into trouble for themselves, or at least a very complex shot. The English have taken a different philosophy.
Yeah, let them go for it. And I guess wasn't the ideal push out at all. There was a shot for Finland. And what a shot that was from Mika. Coming off the rail. Full table. I think Darren is a bit disappointed in himself.
Yes, can't imagine that the Finns aren't going to regain the lead here. It was a very confident part from Immonen. But after all, Ted, he is a former world 9-ball champion.
2-time U.S. Open champion, won the World 10-ball, which was a very difficult tournament to win. Mika's not lacking for confidence. He has an incredible amount of self-belief. He's always in game shape, too. He plays in all manner of tournaments, big and small, all over the world. There it is. So Finland regains the lead. And he got this shot. This was the push out. England left Finland that shot there, and they dared Mika to take on this long pot. Oh, he nailed that in the heart of the pocket.
And it's that kind of excellence that can often be the difference between two teams of this nature. You were saying, Ted, he plays all over the world. Immonen came here direct from playing in the tournament at the Turning Stone Casino in upstate New York, lost in the final there to Scotland's Jason Shaw, then drove back to New York City, grabbed a couple of hours sleep, straight to the airport, flew here. Then it was a train ride from London down to Portsmouth. The only problem was the train broke down, or there was some kind of problem on the rails, and so he had to get a taxi. Eventually turned up very late at night. Now, though, no jet lag, fully acclimatised and fiercely motivated. And knowing Immonen's schedule, he'll be straight out and somewhere else tomorrow.
On to the next event. Like I said, he's always in game shape, battle hardened, and he's been doing this for many years. Now it's Petri Mäkinen, and boy, he had success on the break shot. Look at this. It's a legal break. 2 balls down and a shot on the 3.
Pretty happy with that, and so he should be. Although, let's put here one word of caution. Immonen is bridging over the 9, and remember, in the 3rd rack, he was bridging awkwardly as well when he missed the 2 ball.
There's a bit of space there, so come out. Does that pass? No. So he was, that bridging hampered him a bit. So this 4 ball, a bit far away from the side pocket.
Extension call.
This is not going to be an easy pot. The thing is that the 5 ball is wide out in the open there in a good position. So see if you can make this.
The extension has been taken, by the way. Ooh.
Very close, and he leaves this on. So Mika leaves his partner hidden behind that 7 ball, and that was going to be tough. That he needed to have that 4 ball closer to the pocket. Those jump shots, those are really difficult to pot balls from the middle of the table.
Start the clock.
Guess there was a bug on the table. Interesting. It was actually Darren's shot, and at first Carl got down on it. So the bug was probably a good thing, Phil, because it stopped them from getting a foul and shooting out of turn.
Well, this Scotch doubles format can be a little confusing. I'm surprised, actually, that we don't see more players playing correctly.
Well, certainly, I don't think that the referee is obliged to tell them. You know, I'd like to find that out. I will ask Nigel Collins.
I think he can tell them if they ask, but not before.
What he is obliged to do is call a foul when they do play out of turn, in which he will not hesitate to do.
Well, earlier in this rack, McConan was tying up his shoelaces. Now, Carl Boys is tying up the scoreline at 4-4. No advantage for either side. The Finns were off to a flyer. They led 2-0 to run-outs from the break for them. They also had a good break in the 3rd rack, but Immonen missed a 2 ball, and since then England have got a foothold.
Now this jump shot, Mika just missed getting good position on that 4, so he forced Petri to jump the ball. Very nearly made that. Lucky for England that the resulting shot was in position. They touch fingers. Version of a fist pump and a high five there. Something new I haven't seen before. So it'll be Darren Appleton now. Dynamite Darren.
Okay, rack 9. England to break. 4-4.
Four ball down. The 1 ball is in. And the 2 ball is in. And there's a shot on the 3 point. I can't believe the difference today, Phil, in the break shot. I mean, yesterday it was one after the next of the illegal break. Perhaps the conditions here in the Mountbatten Center have changed. I don't know what it is. I mean,
Well, we can offer nothing definitive, but what I can tell you is that in the arena, I think the temperature is definitely warmer than it was yesterday. Maybe that has some kind of effect. We've talked already this week about the fact that the smallest change in atmospherics can make a massive difference in how a table breaks.
Well, one thing I think that they are doing is they have stopped the cut break in which they're trying to get the one ball in the side pocket, because it seems like they're all going for a little more of a punch break, hitting that one more square on, and the one is coming back to a different pocket. And that changes the physics of the rest of the break, and they're getting a better spread on the balls. They're getting balls down, and the one ball's going in the corner pocket a lot.
Yes, and it follows logically that the more matches you play on a table, the more racks, the more you solve the puzzle. Bear in mind, this is the 4th match in this tournament for both sides.
Attention call.
Well, this is the key shot here in getting position on the 6, which is all the way down table. That's it.
The key fits, turn the lock.
Draw back reverse. Draw back reverse. Good stroke.
You know what's great about this match is that each team punishing the other when they make one mistake. Of course, you're never going to see a match in which, I mean, rarely in which one team plays perfect. Finland, maybe in their second match, played perfect. That's as close as you're going to get. But generally, when you get two really good squads together, or two players, great players together on the table.
Nicely done there. The positional aspect from the 6 ball wasn't quite right. They wanted to dig into the cue ball more and screw it back a little lengthier distance, but Appleton has produced the recovery.
See one mistake by your opponent, and you put a 2-pack on them, as they say in pool. So this all goes back to the last rack. That poor position by Immonen. England gets that rack. They break and run here. And now they lead 5-4 in this race to 9. This match, a race to 9. Everything is winner breaks. You win the rack, you continue to shoot. England with a 2-pack right now, 2 in a row. And as I was saying, Phil, this is what the great teams do. They punish their opponents for one mistake. And you're going to see Finland do the same thing. This match is going to go pretty far, pretty late. Another legal break, but nothing clear to a pocket on that 2 ball. Again, though, a lot of success. I don't think we've had one illegal break yet.
Well, that was rather frustrating for the English. It was like walking into an orchard and seeing all of the branches laden with apples. The only thing is, the one you want to pick is just out of reach.
Does that happen to you a lot in apple orchards, Phil? So some good safety options. You see that wall of balls right by his right hand? He'll be using that.
Careful that his clothing doesn't touch that ping 4. That would be a foul shot. By the way, if you've enjoyed the pool this week, and I'm sure you have, I can tell you both Darren Appleton and Carl Boys will also be involved in the World Pool Masters coming up in Nottingham in mid-November, and then from December the 1st to the 4th it is the big clash, Europe versus USA at the Tower Circus Arena in Blackpool. Live here on Sky, the Mosconi Cup.
Not sure if they can get to that 2-ball straight. They may have to kick at this.
Make it. Come here.
Apparently they can. You see that there's a little gap there. Boy, it's a game of less than a millimeter. That's touching the 7. They might not be able to get to the 2. Wow, I mean, it's amazing how this game can turn on the minuscule fraction of a turn of a ball.
And this has been the tournament of the 2-ball. So many times we've seen spectacular pots on it, and on other occasions, glaring errors. In this match, one of those errors I was telling you about was Mika Immonen in rack number 3. They were heading towards a 3-0 lead, it looked like, but queuing awkwardly, he missed it. The 2-ball, I'll remember, was the one that Torsten Homan knocked in as the Germans beat Canada 7-6.
That safety he played there, the cue ball, if he could have married it up to the 7, they would have had to play a kick shot on the 2. As it was just a sliver off the 7, and that allowed the space for England to get at that 2-ball. And what a pot that was. And now they're off to the races with a chance to extend their lead by 2. And slowly but surely the finish line comes into sight. Race to 9.
Yes, I think considering the opposition, Ted, it might be better to transfer finishing line for winning post. Just bread and butter stuff now.
You do feel that Team England is firmly in the zone at the moment. Good safeties. Great potting. This is their 3rd rack in a row. So they came back from a 3-1 deficit, tied it at 3. They were down 4-3. Now they're up 6-4.
And you know, Ted, we were talking about all of the incentives for England, obviously winning the World Cup on home soil. Also, if they were to lift the trophy, it would be $60,000 between them, 30,000 each. And in terms of consideration for that Mosconi Cup team at the end of the year, it would boost their credentials, if they needed boosting, immensely.
Wouldn't that be something? Of course, I mean, we fully expect Darren Appleton to be on the Mosconi Cup team. Be interesting to see. Carl Boys was on the Mosconi last year, and he's from Blackpool. He could actually walk to the arena.
Rack 11, England to break, leading 6 racks to 4.
England looking to press home the advantage.
So that's, yeah, dry break there, Phil. I mean, that's the first really unsuccessful break we have seen. Now, can the Finns take advantage? And again, we keep coming back to this. One mistake, you have to be able to punish your opponent. Finland did it early in the match. Middle of the match here, England's been successful doing that. Here's the chance for Finland to get one back.
The 1-4 combination, but the cue ball close to the side cushion, and work to do for position on 2. Oh, that really is a very good shot indeed. Very good. It's certainly appreciated by Immonen. Couldn't have cued that one any better. Just avoided the 5. Perfectly weighted.
Well, now it's just a matter of execution.
Extension called.
I think this match, Phil, is just what you would expect. Hotly contested, great play in all aspects from both squads.
Yes, 3 of the 4 quarterfinals were keenly contested, resulting in 9-7 scorelines. You get the impression both of the semi-finals will go close to the wire, if not right down to it.
It's a very good chance that we're going to have a similar scoreline here, yes. Finland should get this rack. They'll be breaking to tie. And every time they've been up at the table, they have had a lot of success on that break shot. And clearly, both teams have changed tactics from earlier in the week when everybody was trying to pot that one ball on the break in the side pocket. Because what that was doing, Phil, was they doing that cut break. Yeah, they're getting the one ball on the side, but they were not getting enough balls past the head string or other balls potted. But now the word is out. Finland stops the bleeding for the moment. It had been 3 in a row for England, but Finland gets one back. 6-5 now.
This is turning into a real tussle, and it's quite a lengthy match because it's so close, and consequently that means a lengthier wait for the guys who are on next. Up in the practice room, there's the Netherlands. Niels Feyen and Nick van den Berg. They know each other inside out. Good mates. They've played thousands and thousands of racks together.
They have to be feeling pretty good about that victory over Germany last night. They really came through the gauntlet. They were down. They gutted it out. They waited their turn. And in the end, they pulled away with a really strong victory. 4 racks on the trot to take it home. So that always builds your confidence. And here they are, Austria. There's Albin Ocean.
Finland to break, trailing 5 racks to 6.
One of our dark horses earlier in the week, and they have indeed come through, and they have looked excellent. So back to our main table now, the TV table arena. Nothing down, and there's the first illegal break of the match. And boy, that's a big disappointment for Mika Immonen, Phil. You can see he slams his Q-tip down on the table right there.
Yes, and after all of that breaking efficiency, the last 2 racks have seen a dry break. Finland were the beneficiaries in the 11th. Will England be in the 12th?
Look at the traffic he has to negotiate and the precision to get on that 2 ball. Crowd appreciates it. This is huge. 7-5 with the break. It's a big difference from a tie match at 6. It's only a race to 9. That's why Mika knew when nothing went down, it was also an illegal break, that this could be a big moment.
And if it does go 7-5, it means there's a possible 5 racks left, and Finland would need 4 of them. You would not want to leave yourself in that predicament against anyone, let alone Appleton and boys.
One thing about Carl and Darren, they are the consummate closers. A lot of great players out there, but not everybody knows how to close the deal. And they're also really good at playing when they're behind in a match. We saw China. They were fantastic when they had a big lead, but when they had to come back from a big deficit, they couldn't do it. They weren't the same 2 players that blew out England B in this tournament. When they were behind, they wilted.
The finish break was dry. England realised this was a golden opportunity, and they're in the process of capitalising to the full. Just the 9 down the rail for a 2-rack lead.
Absolute precision pool from the English pair, Appleton and boys. They move 2 away from a spot in our finals. And there you see Team Austria. Well, Al Benosian working on his break shot. Mario's over there getting some sustenance for the long road ahead. This match, Austria and Holland, follows the conclusion of our first semifinal.
Yes, and there's bound to be a certain degree of nerves, especially for the Austrians, and so having to wait all of this time to get onto the table, I think will only exacerbate those butterflies.
And the
Rack
key,
13, England to break, leading 7 racks to 5.
as we've seen the teams do all week, they're up there in that practice room working on that break shot. So important. This time the 1 goes in the side. It's a legal break and a shot on the 2. And the Finns, well, all they can do is watch. What a shot. Brings the cue ball right between that small gap between the 3 and the 6. Knocks the 6 out of the way. They get this rack filled, they will be in total control. It's going to either be a total collapse for Finland to come back, or Finland's going to have to go on an epic tear. Right now, this English pair looks really solid.
Yes, closing in on the first 3-rack lead of the match. And I can't help but think, as they approach a possible place in the final, you could say a probable place, how different things could have been if David Al-Kaidi had potted that simple ball in the deciding rack of their first round match when Spain lost to these guys.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. You know, most champions in this sport, in any event, whether it be a singles or doubles or a team event, a full team event, you know, they all have to come through a massive scare, and then they go on to win the title. I've never seen a player or a team play perfect throughout an entire event.
No mistake from boys. England 8, Finland 5. England need one more rack to reach the final of the World Cup of Pool for the second time.
But hold your horses. They're not going to get it that easy.
And that's the third dry break in the last 5 racks. Is it a lifeline for Finland?
Well, they can't. Not sure if they can see the 1 ball.
Push out called.
They can't. They're going to call a push out. So you're down by 3, your opponent's on the hill, and you got to go push out.
Reset the clock, please.
Well, they put Finland back in. Appleton had a look at it for about 5 seconds. So he's going to allow Mika to solve this puzzle. Nice safety there.
Well, there was little hesitation from Eminent. Got down, knew what he wanted to do. Stock 2-cushion escape, as it were, and he's judged it really nicely.
Extension called.
Get 1 extension per rack. He's showing you the route of the cue ball.
Foul
What
shot.
happened there?
Ball in hand.
Well, normally when they miss narrow like that, it's because not quite enough side has been applied.
Stop the clock.
Foul shot, of course, that means ball in hand.
Well, what an opportunity, and just in the nick of time for Finland. A ball in hand. Well, it's certainly not an impossible comeback. Ball in hand here. They can get this down to 2. Obviously, the key will be that next rack if they can come out with a break and run and apply apply the heat. And put England under pressure.
Finland have met England twice before in the World Cup of Pool. 2007 in Rotterdam, last 16. Immonen and Marcus Juve beat Imran Majid and Daryl Peach 8-5. Last year at York Hall Bethnal Green quarter-finals, this pairing, Immonen and McConan, beat Peach and Melling 9-4. So can they possibly complete the hat-trick? Odds against still, but now they've got a glimmer.
They're doing nicely so far. So just when England was on a roll, Appleton delivers a dry break.
Extension code.
Two balls to stem the tide, but they are still a long way away. Nicely done by Mika. Look out. Oh, just barely. Massive relief. So the Finns still breathing.
Well, the 8 wasn't potted cleanly, and consequently there was almost a positional miscalculation. After this, Immonen was so relieved on 2 counts. Firstly, that the 8 ball flopped in off the jaws, and secondly, that the cue ball just about went past the 9.
Well, not yet ready to give up the dream. And this is a good guy to have up breaking, Petri. I think he's had, fair
Rack
to say,
15, Finland to break, trailing 6 racks to 8.
Mäkkinen's had the best break shot of anybody we've seen in this tournament. Consistent. He's got the 1 ball down. It is a legal break. Well, it's hard to see from that angle how much of the 2 is available. Could be looking at a safety. He goes for the cut shot, and he makes it. That was daring. And what a result. 8-6, Phil. Boy, he's the one guy you would trust with that. I often hear players say, you know, if you want to win a championship, you got to kick down the front door. Don't go through the back door. Sometimes you just have to play offense and take a risk. Wow, that was the thinnest of cuts, Phil.
So England led 8-5, broke dry in rack 14, and it's turning again.
All right, so where does he go on the 6 ball? This is the shot right here. And he's got to get position again for the 6. He missed it, but he got second prize.
Undoubtedly went for the combination, and for the 7 ball to come back there has been outrageously fortunate. With an open 6 ball, you think, well, England are going to win.
Yes, indeed. So Finland still alive in this rack. Terrific safety from Appleton.
Yes, a full contact there might have left the cue ball in behind the brown 7 and the Finns snookered, but I think considering the position they found themselves in, England might be satisfied with that.
Extension call.
Both teams have used their extension in this rack now.
Well, you call that a containing safety. Perhaps would have liked to hit it a little higher up, but Appleton can see a good portion of, or rather boys can. So now the ball, the 6 ball, slightly more out in the open. Nika's looking at the clock. Just create some distance. Boy, that's a nice shot.
Yes, the English have the gap between the 7 and the 9, so the 6 ball can be seen easily, but there's maximum distance between white and object ball. And the cue ball being so close to the cushion here adds to the degree of difficulty as well.
Well, this is gonna be open, but this isn't easy. And it's up to Petri Mäkinen to take advantage. We've seen him come through in these kind of situations throughout this tournament. This is a little bit different, though. If he misses, that could be the end for Team Finland. No extension. This time, he thought he got lucky. This time it was not to be.
The Finns got away with that attempted 6-7 combination. They've not got away with this. England have used their extension, but that really shouldn't be an issue now. They're in to win.
Yep, this is the perfect layout for England. Look out. Whew. Bill, they're living on the edge, aren't they? A lot of adrenaline in these situations. The hardest thing to do is to hit a finesse shot. You got the adrenaline pumping. They know very much what's on the line. You try to block that out, thinking, oh, the finals are on the line. No, and just try to shoot just like it was a practice table. Easier said than done. So a lot of times the players will end up hitting the ball harder in order to use up that adrenaline.
England 2 points away from a place in the final. The last time an English team was in the World Cup of Pool final, 6 years ago. Pleading with the cue ball to travel some more. That should be just about okay.
So it'll be Darren Appleton, this 9-ball, for a spot in the World Cup of Pool finals.
Darren Appleton and Carl Boys justifiably delighted. The Finns have been beaten. England are through by 9 racks to 6. It was a cracking semi-final. It really was. Up next, our second semi-final, Austria against Holland.